Hello, I'm Mark Height, President of the Greater Chattanooga Association of Realtors. Today, we'll be joined by Ethan Collier from Collier Construction to discuss the latest trend of green homes, which is a growing phenomenon being demanded by consumers in today's real estate market. But first, home sales for the month of July rose 16.2% from the previous year's numbers, according to information being released by the multiple listing service of the Greater Chattanooga Association of Realtors. The month of July saw the sale of 618 residential units. During the month of the 30th Olympiad, housing meddled in several arenas. While a few short years ago, housing was considered a headwind to economic recovery, today, housing is seen as a tailwind from a slowly recovering economy. For the first time, though, since 2005, housing is on track for contributing positively to the gross domestic product for the year. That can occur either by way of direct residential investment or through remodeling and other ancillary services, which is currently taking place across our area and the country. Now back to the real estate numbers. New listings coming to market in the Chattanooga region increased 11.8% to 1,015 new units coming to market in July. However, overall inventory levels shrank by 14.8% compared to last year, for only 4,983 units available for sale for July. Prices were fairly stable in July. The median sales price decreased 1.4% to $141,500. That's following 5 months of increases in price. The average number of days on market was down 3.8% to 126 days for July. And absorption rates improved when compared with last year's, as the month's supply of inventory was down 23% to 9.7 months of supply. Now, sustained recovery will not occur without real employment creation and wage growth. Consumers must be confident in both the economy and their family's finances before signing on the dotted line. However, cheap borrowing costs have served as the glue that are binding things together. Unimaginable just a few years ago, the rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage recently ducked below 3.49%. Wow. Now, let's turn our attention to green homes and building, where we're going to get the inside scoop from Ethan Collier of Better Built Homes. Okay, joining me now is Ethan Collier with Collier Construction right here in Chattanooga, and he is going to really bring some information to the table that we need. Ethan, tell us, what are some of the techniques that you use in green building and green construction?
That's a great question. A lot of people ask that. A couple primary techniques that are probably easiest to use.
Okay.
One of them is advanced framing.
Okay,
so we had a way that we built houses, before probably the last 15 years. And what we've done is we still build using the same materials that we've always built with. We still put studs in the wall, we still cover everything with plywood, but we pay a lot more attention to the details and how the walls are framed, and as a result, we more than double the R value of the walls by doing advanced framing.
Now explain R value to our viewers.
Well, R value is basically the resistance to heat loss.
Okay.
So, most walls have an R13 insulation in them.
Okay.
That's a 2x4 wall. A 2x6 wall has an R19 insulation in it. But when we change from advanced framing, from conventional framing to advanced framing, we more than double the R value. Okay. So if you just imagine that you have a normal house, doesn't cost any more money, you don't change building materials, you just change the method in which you put the framing together, and you more than double the R value. So this is something that we're doing on all of the homes we build. Customers don't have to pay anything more for it. And
really?
No, it doesn't cost any more. I mean, that's the crazy thing about it. And it really does work. It results in huge energy savings for people. Okay.
So what are some of the other things we'll see here on this new construction site?
Well, one of the other primary things that we want to do is control air that's going in and out of the house.
Okay.
So if you take your average house and you were to pressurize the house and then measure all the air leakage, it's equivalent to a 6 to 10 square foot hole. A huge hole. It's like
in the wall, a 6 to 10 foot hole.
Yeah, year round. It's like having your front door open, right? Year round. That's normal. if we pay attention to the details and we use foam and we seal the house up well, if we use some adhesives, we're talking about $150, $200 per house in materials, a couple $100 in labor, we can reduce the size of that hole from 6 to 10 square feet, which is about the size of a front door, to something that's more along the lines of the size of a basketball. So it has huge energy savings. Again, it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's very easy to do. It's just a simple step that people can take when they're building a new house to save real money.
So is that the real bottom line advantage of green building, is saving money?
Oh, I think it's about, one, yeah, people save money. I think most of the people that we talk to want their utility bills to be lower. Utility bills just keep going up and up, whether it's gas or electric. There doesn't seem to be any end in sight, and they know that if they're going to live in this house, that's going to be the case. It's a fixed cost, so most people are budgeting, you know, for most houses, what they should be budgeting is about $1 per square foot per year for utility bills. So you got a 2,000 square foot house, you're going to pay $2,000 in electric bill.
Okay.
Well, by doing the different green building techniques that we can apply for very little to almost no money in some cases, we can cut that number in half. So if yeah, I mean, if you're taking somebody that's got a 2,000 square foot house and they were going to spend $2,000 a year on electric, and now they're spending $1,000, and they've got a 30-year note on the house, that's $30,000. Wow. So money's a huge part of that. The other big piece is durability.
Okay.
Greenhouses last longer. We use different products, we use different techniques that make the houses last longer, and so they have less maintenance and less, you know, mold, mildew, rot, termites, all those
all
kinds
scary terms.
Right. I mean, all those kinds of things that everybody hates about owning a house, we can eliminate a lot of those problems with green building techniques. So one, it's about energy savings. Two, it's about durability. And three, people do care about the environment. People know that there is an environmental impact by our houses. Our houses have an impact on the environment. So, you know, a lot of people are more conscientious to that than ever, and they're doing what they can to reduce their impact.
So you're speaking of people, who are the demographics that are demanding green building and looking forward to this technology?
It's amazing. We see such a wide range because there's so many different people that care about green building. So we see people in their late 20s that are very interested in it. Most of them are kind of techie, and they have their iPods, and they want to connect their iPods to their HVAC system so that they can control it when they're not at home. You know, so there's that generation is very interested. Also, they're very aware of their environmental impact. But we see people, you know, in their 40s and 50s that also have some of the same kinds of feelings, but they're looking at it from the standpoint of, I'm going to invest in this house, I'm going to live here for 30 years, and I want to invest in something that's going to last and something that's not going to put a drain on our finances through utility bills.
Down the road.
I mean, you know, this is a 8,000 square foot house we're standing in. What, $1 per square foot per year, that's $8,000. But what's also kind of crazy is we see people, you know, that are building their last home. They're retiring. This is the last home they're ever going to build. And they care just as much as all the other folks that we've talked about, just because of the fact that they know that what they're building, they're going to leave. And you know, it's that they want to leave something that's well done, something that cares well for future generations, something that lasts, something they can be proud of. So we see people that are building their last house ever, or buying their last house ever, and they care just as much as people that are in their 20s. So it is a wide range of demographic.
You know, we're talking a lot about new construction, and that's where we're at here, is in an 8,000 square foot new construction house. Can any of these techniques be applied to remodeling, or if someone's saying, well, I've got a 1920s bungalow just down the road here in North Chattanooga, can we apply these same kind of techniques?
Absolutely, a lot of them. And that's a great question, because a lot of people are already in their house, or their house is already built. And so some of the things that we're doing, whether it's advanced framing or it's how we seal the walls up, some of that kind of stuff you can never come back and do.
Right.
But there are a lot of things that you can do. You know, when people purchase HVAC equipment, they can make a better purchase. They can invest in a system that's going to be more energy efficient. They can do things like a conditioned crawl space, which is a big topic, but you know, most of our crawl spaces are vented, right?
Right.
So air comes in one side, goes out the other. Everybody knows that you kind of open the vents during the summertime, close them in the winter to keep your pipes from freezing. Well, in most of our homes, we're conditioning that crawl space, which is where that ductwork is.
Right.
And as a result, people are saving a ton of money. I live in a house that's 100 years old. It didn't have a conditioned crawl space. I conditioned the crawl space, and we saved $50 a month by doing that. We spent $3,000, and now we save $50 a month. You know, and then
so the payback is 5 years. You've got the money back, and then the rest of the years you're still enjoying
but more than that, if that $3,000 is sitting in some investment right now, if I've got $3,000 and I've got it in some investment, what's it earning?
0.5%.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, I took that $3,000 out of a 0.5% interest rate earnings, put it in my house, and I'm making $50 a month. Right. So, you know, it's not just about payback. It's about if you have money, where are you going to put it where it's going to make you the most money? So in a lot of cases, it's, yes, about payback, but it's also about cash flow. And if we can help people understand that and they really see that and embrace that, it's relatively easy to kind of, you know, move into that.
Right. So now, our viewers, we've tweaked their interest. How can they find out more about Better Built or a HERS survey? Who do they need to contact?
Probably the best people to talk to in town are Green Spaces. Green Spaces has been on the leading edge of this whole movement. Okay. Their primary focus in the first 3 years was on commercial buildings, but in the last year or two, they've moved very much into the residential world, trying to figure out how to educate people. And they started this program called Better Built. And Better Built is a lot like the LEED program that people hear about around town. It's a green rating system, and they actually, the great thing about Better Built is it's third-party certified. And so they'll come in and they'll actually, when we get done with this house, they'll come in and they'll measure it. They'll pressurize the house and tell us how much leakage we have. And if we don't meet a certain standard, we have to go back and make corrections. Wow. You know, they'll look at the windows and they'll tell us whether or not those windows meet the standard that they need to meet. So Better Built's a great program because the fact that it takes a lot of the headache off the builder and puts it back on Better Built to kind of help the builder figure out what they need to do in order to build a green home.
Great information. Yeah. Thank you for taking time to meet with us today.
It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Monthly Home Sales Report. I'm Mark Height, President of the Greater Chattanooga Association of Realtors. You can follow us on the web at gcar.net or like us on Facebook at the Greater Chattanooga Association of Realtors.